The morning had begun like any other, but by noon the world of a humble mechanic and his little girl would be cracked open by the thunder of helicopter blades. The moment the grass in their tiny front yard bent beneath the force of the descending aircraft, everything they thought they knew about struggle, sacrifice, and fate changed forever. What no one saw coming was that this moment, loud, sudden, and blindingly bright under the late morning sun, was the result of a choice made quietly in the shadows of kindness, a choice that cost a young girl her exam, but revealed the true weight of a heart filled with empathy. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the ripple effect of good deeds, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Soul of Light. Your support helps these stories reach more hearts. The story truly began earlier that same day, under a clear sky softened by the warm glow of daylight. 9. Old Morena J. had woken before her father, Nolan, just as she always did on exam days. Their home was small but vibrant with love, filled with the scent of old books, coffee, and the lemon soap her father used to clean his hands after long hours at the repair shop. Nolan was a single dad doing everything he could to keep their world steady after life had taken too much too soon. Morena, wise beyond her years yet still radiantly hopeful, understood far more than any child should about bills, broken engines, and days when grown-ups pretended to be stronger than they were. She had prepared for her science exam carefully, practicing until her notebook was heavy with scribbles and stars she drew beside every correct answer. Today was supposed to be her moment to shine, a small victory her father desperately wanted her to have. They walked to school together, the sunlight bouncing off cracked sidewalks and the hum of traffic mixing with Nolan's gentle reminders about confidence and doing her best. But fate wove itself in strange ways. Halfway to school, they heard a crash-sharp, metallic, unmistakably immediate. Morena felt a strange tug in her chest and turned her head just in time to see a black luxury car smashed against a streetlight pole. Steam hissed from under the hood. The back door was cracked open, and no one else seemed to be stopping. Without hesitation, Morena ran forward, calling for her father. They reached the car quickly, and Nolan pulled the driver's door open with careful strength. Inside sat a woman dressed in a tailored suit, her hair pinned in a flawless twist that was now unraveling. Her name, later revealed, was Kalina Rowe, a reclusive but renowned CEO who rarely appeared in public without layers of privacy shielding her every step. At that moment, however, she was simply a woman in pain, gripping her wrist and struggling to keep her eyes open. Morena held her hand with trembling fingers, whispering soft reassurance, while Nolan checked for injuries and called for an ambulance. The minutes stretched long and heavy. The morning sun grew hotter. Morena knew time was slipping through her fingers, taking her exam with it, but she refused to leave Kalina's side. When paramedics arrived, Kalina managed to speak only one sentence before being lifted into the ambulance. Her voice cracked yet certain. "She saved me." The doors shut, and the ambulance pulled away, leaving Morena standing in the bright daylight with her exam already far out of reach. By the time they reached the school, the classroom door was locked. Students were inside, pens scratching against paper, time ticking. The teacher shook her head apologetically. Rules were rules. Nolan placed his hand on his daughter's shoulder. As she blinked back tears she refused to let fall. He told her she had done the right thing, but his voice carried the weight of worry. Morena had missed the one test that could secure her a scholarship, the one thing that could ease the strain on their lives. The day dragged on heavy and quiet. Nolan returned to work, pretending his chest wasn't tight with guilt and fear for their future. Morena sat in the yard with her notebook open, but her mind lost somewhere far away. The sun was still high when the first rumble reached her ears. It was distant, low, and growing quickly. She looked up just as the wind whipped through the trees, scattering leaves like confetti. A helicopter, sleek, polished, unmistakably expensive, swept into view, descending slowly until its legs touched the uneven grass of their yard. Neighbors peeked through windows, dogs barked. The world seemed to hold its breath. When the rotors slowed, The door opened and Kalina Rose stepped out, her wrist bandaged, her expression unreadable but softened by something warm and fragile. She approached with the kind of presence that made the air feel charged, yet her movements carried humility. She looked at Nolan and Morena with gratitude written across her face in ways words could never fully capture. In the daylight, her eyes glimmered with an emotion the little girl had never seen in someone so powerful: vulnerability. Kalina explained that she had learned everything, that the little girl who had held her hand had sacrificed her academic future to save her life, that no one else had stopped, that kindness had found her in the moment she had needed it most. She said she had spoken to the school board, the district, even the scholarship committee. Exceptions had been made, opportunities opened, doors unlocked. Morena would retake her exam privately, and her scholarship was already secured, sponsored personally by Kalina herself. More than that, Kalina offered something even greater: a mentorship program she would create in Morena's name, designed to support children who performed great acts of kindness, believing the future needed not just intelligence but compassion. Nolan's eyes filled despite every effort to contain the storm of emotion rising inside him. In that bright, beautiful daytime scene, where sunbeams painted soft warmth over their worn yard and hope finally loosened the tightness around their hearts, Morena felt something shift in the universe, a gentle confirmation that kindness never vanished. It only returned in unexpected ways, often multiplied. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, comment, and subscribe to Soul of Light. Your engagement helps keep these stories alive. Special request: comment one word that describes how this story made you feel.